Hey guys, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. Sorry about the shadows. So I'm going to start off when we get into this video telling you about where I'm parked and why. But what we're really going to talk about today is coffee. So let's roll the intro and we'll get right into it. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't already, why not subscribe? You're here watching it. And if you think you're subscribed, double check to make sure you still are, because YouTube has been spontaneously unsubscribing people. While we're on the subject, what YouTube is looking for, so if you want to help me out, it's important to know this. YouTube is looking for people that are interacting with the video, so leaving comments, even if you just leave an emoji in the comment section, that's cool. Thumbs up, they always help a lot, and yeah, and I like comments anyway because I love knowing what you guys are thinking. All right, let's roll the intro, we'll get right into it. All right, let's start with where am I? I'm in a parking lot. And I did a really bad thing when I got here yesterday afternoon, which is I parked perpendicular to this guy behind me who's also in the parking lot. That's a big Class A. So that's the back end of the Class A that's outside of my living room window. Why did I do that? Well, I was tired and I wasn't thinking clearly. That was one thing. But the real reason was this part of the parking lot was in shade. And I knew the temperature today was going to get up to like 94 degrees, and I didn't want to have to run the AC all day off the generator because that sucks gas from my truck engine gas tank, whereas my previous rigs have always been propane. So, and if you get down to like a quarter of a tank, it'll stop running anyway. So, all of those things. I figure if I'm in the shade, I'm not going to need the AC as much, I'll be able to put up with the temperatures, so forth and so on. But I realized just how rude that was sometime late last night before I went to bed. And it's like, really? I should move. And then I thought, I'm not going to bother. Because here's the other reality. When I got here yesterday afternoon, there was one tractor trailer that was parked perpendicular to the front of my rig. And it was probably 75 feet away from me. Well, over the course of the afternoon and evening, two more pulled in, and they kept pulling in between that tractor trailer and me. So I ended up with a tractor trailer in front of me that was probably no more than 20 feet away, with its engine running all night long. Not my favorite thing. And part of the reason that I came to this particular parking lot was I've been in a number of Walmarts lately, and the ones in Ohio and Pennsylvania were awesome. The ones in West Virginia I was in Virginia. Yeah, was not so awesome. I keep having to think about where I am because there's little tiny states here in the east and they all kind of melt together. So you can be in and out of like 3 states in one day I've done. Just crossing borders because that's the way the roads run. Anyway, so I left Walmart behind thinking, all right, I'll come over. This is a casino. I'll come over here. It'll be okay. Because most casinos actually keep tractor trailers separate from RVers. Well, not this one. And I guess the tractor trailers get lonely because they wanted to cuddle right up with us. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today I want to talk about coffee. I want to talk about coffee makers for your RV in particular, or even for your home if you want to be able to save some energy. And I thought about this because I read an article recently that was like 12 best coffee makers for an RV or something like that. And I'm here to tell you, they didn't have either of my two choices. They had all these other things that I thought were inappropriate. And I'm going to talk to you about why I love what I've got. So right now, I'm off-grid. And in this rig that I've got now, I do have an inverter, but I don't have a whole lot of battery power, and I don't have any solar yet. So I'm not really using the inverter very much to be able to run things that are electrical. Plus, because the inverter is on the smaller side, I think it's only powering certain outlets like the one in the kitchen, which is fine for making coffee, but it means I can't run my internet gateway and stuff like that. No big deal. I'm solving the solar problem in the next few weeks, almost a little less than a month, and that'll be over with. But in the meantime, if I want a cup of coffee and I don't want to run the generator or take a chance on using the inverter to be able to do that, I've got this device that I've had. I actually bought this in 2016 when I bought my first travel trailer, and I love this thing. It's completely manual. You don't need any electricity to be able to make a cup of coffee, and to me it makes a surprisingly good cup of coffee. Now part of that is what you use for coffee. So what my preference is, and I get them at Costco, it's San Francisco Bay French Roast. And part of what I like about the pods, it's a pod, K-cup, part of what I like about them is they've got a kind of cardboard top where it's usually foil on the standard plastic K-cups, and instead of having the plastic bottom, it's a coffee filter bottom. So you get a really rich roast cup of coffee out of it, which I really love. So here's the manual version. This is called a My Joe. They're still available for sale. It's like twice as expensive as it was when I bought this one. I bought this one in 2018. My first one failed. Don't remember what the point of failure was anymore, but it failed. Oh, actually, I think I do know. But let me show you how this works. So you unscrew the bottom. That's where your pod goes. So you just drop your pod right in there. And then this is your water reservoir. And it's got several lines on it, so you choose the amount of hot water you want and you fill it with hot water. If you've got power, you can heat up the water in the microwave if you want to, and that works perfectly well. Then the next thing you do, once you've got your hot water, and if you're pouring hot water in, you can do this first, screw the bottom back on with your K-cup in, and this rests on top of your coffee cup. Hint, use one that is at least as wide at the top as it is at the bottom. Don't use one of those that's got a wide top and a skinny bottom, and you'll see why in just a moment. So then you put the plunger on, and this piece is separate as well. Put this on top of your coffee pot, and all you do is push down on this until it stops flowing, and then release it, and do it again. And typically for a cup of coffee it takes 3 presses to do that. Now I'll show you what the point of failure was on the first one, and I really didn't need to buy a new one, but I did. So there's a little silicone thing. This is what the coffee goes through. So it's got a split in the bottom, and you can see it's got a little coffee on it right now. It needs to be cleaned. And this gets coffee grounds will get in here, and then it doesn't make a proper seal in the bottom, so the water will just leak out as soon as you put it in. So once I figured that out, I really didn't have to buy another one, which is good, because when I bought the this one in 2018, it was $13 and change on Amazon, and I looked this morning and they're like 25 bucks now. Okay, everything's going up, guys. So that's the manual version, but I'm kind of lazy, even having to push down on it 3 times, you know. So a friend of mine turned me on to this one, and I've had this for a couple of years now. This is called a Chulux, C-H-U-L-U-X, also available on Amazon, comes in all kinds of different colors. I ended up with orange because for some reason it was a couple dollars cheaper than the other colors the day that I bought it, and I don't really care. I think it's a fun color. So why a Chulux? This is also, you know, this is a K-cup. Put your K-cup in here. You put water in the reservoir back here. So basically the way this one works is you put as much water as you want to use into your coffee cup. Make sure your cup is clean before you do that. You dump your water into the reservoir, put your K-cup in, close the lid, turn the lock, and then press the button on the side right here to turn it on. And it takes a couple minutes to heat up the water, and then once it's done that, it brews your cup of coffee. Same thing, it's just K-cups, right? And once again, I think part of the reason I get such good results is because of the coffee pods that I use. So why a Chulux instead of a Keurig or a Mr. Coffee or any of the other K-cup positive coffee maker things? Here's the deal. The Chulux is really low wattage. So even if you have a small inverter, you can still use it. This only pulls 800 watts. And then your next question is going to be, well, what's a coffee pot typically pull? Typically it's somewhere between 1400 and 1800 watts. And for a lot of people, you know, if they've got an inverter, it might be an 1800 watt inverter. A lot of people don't have them that big even, might have a 1000 watt inverter. And so this will work with a really small inverter. And that's an important point on the one hand, just from the perspective of being able to use it. On the other hand, because it's pulling less wattage, which then is converted to amp hours. If you're pulling from your batteries, right, you're pulling stored energy. So pulling less stored energy is much more efficient than pulling more stored energy. So I love this thing. And again, its price has gone up as well. When I looked today, it's currently like $43, but there's a $10 off coupon, which gets it down to $33, which is about what I paid for it a couple of years ago. So I love both of these methods for making coffee. And hey, let's have a bonus while we're at it. I'm not even going to get up for this. I also like iced tea. So let me tell you about this. This is an iced tea pitcher, this is a pitcher that I've had and used for iced tea for years. And what I'm doing now, no boiling of water, no messing around with stuff. I just take a gallon-size tea bag, and I'm buying Great Value at Walmart, nothing fancy there. Drop the tea bag in, fill the pitcher up with water, put it back in the refrigerator, and a couple hours later I've got beautiful iced tea. And one of the advantages of doing it this way is that it actually keeps a whole lot longer, and you don't get any of that kind of tannin aftertaste that you get with iced tea, especially after it's been around for a couple of days, even if it's been refrigerated. So yeah, none of that lasts for a long time, except I'm going through like a pitcher a day because it's hot. So that's kind of a bonus tip for you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. If you liked it, let me know down below what part you like best. Would you consider either of these coffee makers for your RV life or your nomad life? And what do you think about my cold brew iced tea method? All right, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for watching.